Welcome to my History of Motion Picture Art's final project, where we'll be discussing the evolution of the war film genre. One of the first questions I asked myself when working on this project is what actually makes for a good war film? The motion pictures that usually check all the boxes for me are those of which that have realism, great special effects, and accuracy of real-world events. The first war film ever released in the US was a 90-second propagandist effort released by the Vitagraph Company called Tearing Down the Spanish Flag, released in 1898. Propagandistic material didn't end there. World War I was a major catalyst in growing the popularity of war movies, mainly through the use of propaganda films, which was used to motivate young men to enlist in the military. The end of World War I brought about a noticeable halt in the production of war movies, both foreign and domestic. In the late 1920s, war films were revived by a new type of film which for the first time gave many viewers a closer look at the world of being a soldier. Films such as The Big Parade by King Vidor allowed audiences to revel in the conditions of a frontline soldier, with realistic images which were taken from actual footage during World War I. In the years leading up to World War II, film studios continued to produce depictions of war. But as technology advanced, so did the capabilities of these film producers. In 1930, moviegoers got their first look at a cinematic aerial battle scene between American fighter pilots and Nazi German ground soldiers in the film Hell's Angels, directed by Howard Hughes. Military conflict film productions even spread to other genres such as comedy crossovers. 1940 gave us the military-themed comedy drama The Great Dictator, directed by Charlie Chaplin.
Dictator of the world.
It's our destiny. We'll kill off the Jews, wipe out the brunettes. Then will come forth our dream, a pure Aryan race.
Beautiful blonde Aryan.
They will love you, they will adore you, they will worship you as a god.
No, you mustn't say it. You make me afraid of myself.
The 1940s brought the U.S. a slew of new war-themed films. With the entrance of the U.S. into World War II and the attack on Pearl Harbor, the propaganda films were emerging faster than anyone could keep up with. Boasting nobility and glory unto their viewers, it's safe to say the film industry was one of the best armed forces recruiters in the history of our nation. Transitioning from the 1940s into the 50s brought about another decline in the film industry. As home televisions became more common, more families were staying home to watch films rather than visit theaters. The 1960s brought about a shift in the war genre, that shift being the Vietnam War. However, the focus of most films during this time was less focused on patriotic boasting and more so on anti-war and anti-American symbolism. The 70s came in and erupted with something new that took audiences by surprise. The end of the Hays Code and the birth of the MPAA allowed filmmakers to show things on film they had otherwise refrained from portraying. Violence, gore, and sexual content was now being exhibited on the big screens across the country. For a time, this put war-themed films to the sidelines as production companies released other genre heavy hitters. The 1980s was a very strong decade for war-themed films. With the end of the Vietnam War, depictions or adaptations of the conflict were still rolling strong. Reflection of the conflict in Vietnam continued through the 90s and even into the early 2000s. However, it was the late 80s and early 90s which increased attention on a genre already living amongst us in the film industry. As worldwide media outlets began to use newer and faster means of communication, the reach for knowledge became a lot easier to travel a lot further. The genre known as spy films was given new traction and much more attention. And let's not forget about everyone's favorite spy,
My name is Bond.
Bond.
Bond. Bond.
Bond.
Bond.
James Bond.
Today's productions are no different from their predecessors. With our latest foreign conflicts stemming from the September 11th attacks on our country, it took filmmakers only 4 short years to begin releasing projects depicting those attacks, as well as the orchestrated military responses which followed. This can be seen as a way of furthering the idea that our government often uses the film industry to stock its ranks. Over our history, we can track every major boost in military personnel growth to a major motion picture release. This all leads me to believe that the film industry will continue to evolve for as long as technology and our military continue to grow.